Well, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to BT Wrap to Panorama Migration Week 1 in review. And I'm pleased to see we've got a number of people joining us today to run through post Tranche 2, successful Tranche 2 migration over the weekend and look at any queries that have popped up from there, and also just address the key tasks for you to be focusing on now post-migration with those clients that have come across of yours from Wrap to Panorama. Just in terms of any questions today, please feel free to pop those questions in the Q&A box down the bottom right-hand side. And we've got a panel to answer and address those questions as we go forward throughout today's session. So we'll make sure we cover them all off at the end. So we might kick along now and open up today's session. So just as I said, to cover off the agenda, we'll review the weekend's events and what's been happening this week so far. And then I'll just run through some of those migration activities and support, which we've referred to in previous sessions, where we talk about joining onto the Migration Hub and making sure that we work through that checklist and look at the tasks that you need to be checking off and making sure you're running through as we go through from this week forward. Okay, so I'm joined now by Phil Butterworth, our head of platforms, distribution services. Phil's going to welcome Phil, and Phil's going to just cover a few points post the weekend's event. So over to you. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, thanks, Tim, and good afternoon, everybody. As Tim's mentioned, Phil Butterworth, I'm head of the BT Platforms distribution business, and thanks for joining in on the briefing. At BT, we obviously aspire to be your platform of choice now and moving into the future. And to continue on that aspiration, we really need to simplify our business so that we can be more responsive and focus on platform development to support the delivery, your delivery advice to your clients. And certainly our migration of Wrap to Pano strategy is such a critical step to enable this. The great news is that over the weekend, we were successful with our second tranche, where we moved approximately 40,000 accounts, representing around $11 billion worth of assets from Wrap to Pano. This is a really significant step forward in our simplification agenda and gives us great confidence that our migration strategy is coming to a close imminently. We can't forget that this is the biggest migration of its nature in our industry, and we're all part of it. So we'll look back on this time. For those of you who are part of this migration tranche, I've spoken to many of you, and thanks for the positive feedback, but also acceptance that we did have a few data issues and a few exclusions that we're still resolving, and Tim Rogers will go into more detail around these shortly. One of the key issues that we did experience was the outage on Monday. And once again, sorry for the outage, but also thanks again for your understanding and working with us through that. Getting to this stage of the simplification program so we can be more focused on you and your clients moving forward. A massive thank you to all of you. The work that you've done, that we've asked you to do, whether it be data mapping and the like, in particular, obviously you will need to engage with your clients and providing us with a lot of guidance and responses throughout the program so that we can be better and improve on how we actually are executing. Panorama today and our future development can really help drive efficiencies within advice businesses. And we look forward to moving to the next phase of Panorama and BT post this migration, which is now imminent, which is great news. So thank you for your support. I'm now going to hand over to Tim Rogers, the Head of Advisor Migration, to talk through more about this first week following migration. So thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate that. Okay, so here we are. This is the list that you will have seen on the Wrap desktop, and that's your migration client list. And just to let you know that those details have been updated now for those clients that will that have migrated. Your client's migration status should be updated to complete. And if they're listed as unscheduled, then they've been excluded from this tranche or scheduled for a later tranche. But any queries with regard to those exclusions, please contact our customer relations or your business development manager, and we can absolutely give you a little bit more detail with regard to that. And I will touch on a couple of things in respect to those last minute exclusions and the things that are involved with this migration of this size and complexity. But yeah, just again to echo Phil's point, it's been great to hear that our contact centre teams have been readily available, answering calls, and certainly well within their service standards, which we're pleased with. And also, there've been a number of you making use of ample use of our support channels, including our new chatbot on Panorama called Blue, and also the Walk Me function, and also the very popular Click to Chat function, which gives you a variety of ways to have your queries addressed without having to wait and talking to an individual. Of course, if you're wanting to do that, then that functionality is always available to you. But it's nice to give you a few different options which work in with your business, and sometimes timing wise you have those queries which you need answered after hours, and we can certainly address those as well. So just moving forward now, just want to call out some key call outs from Tranche 2. So it was hugely successful, and we're very, very pleased with that. And but we do acknowledge, as Phil said, that there are a few issues that have come up, and things that we manage as you would expect with anything of this size. And certainly pre-migration exclusions, I'll cover that off, is one of those things. So as you work through a migration over the weekend, which commenced at close of business on Friday, and work through the weekend into Monday, as you're aware, there are a number of checkpoints and stage gates along the way where certain functionalities are being finalised and details moved across and data moved across. And at any point in time, if that data, there's been a glitch in that data, or something's not gone to plan, then there will be the few accounts overall that are pulled from the migration. If we're not comfortable and confident, risk assessment, if you like, at that point in time, that all the information is going to go across for those particular. So there were a few that came out, and we've updated those for you. But similarly, in the lead up to this migration, as you know, we run a series of dress rehearsals and test modes before we go through with our migrations and all the various functions that have to happen. And what happens with that is there's always some issues that will occur, and our key priority is to resolve them swiftly and effectively, and to make sure that those solutions that we've designed to overcome any issues are tested and as we build them. But our key focus is to assess the risk of any potential poor outcome for you or your clients, and exclude those outcomes if we're not comfortable that our confidence level is at the level that passes it through. The end result of that approach to risk management is what we've had on the weekend, where we get some nearly 40,000 accounts moved across with minimal issues that we're fixing up now, which we'll talk about. But that does mean that we actually did pull some cohorts of clients out to achieve that goal, to provide that smooth transition to Panorama for you and your business and your clients. And they include clients with term deposits, with stapled securities, for example, and some of those with sponsored HIN as well. So the reason that they come out is because at a point in time leading up to last week, you just simply run out of time to do final testings, and your final go no go decisions on all of those need to be made. So as I said, if there's sufficient doubt in our minds or concern in our minds, then we will pull that out, as we did, and we appreciate that causes some challenges for you sometimes with clients who are believing they're migrating and then realise now that they've been excluded from that tranche, and we'll certainly go through in the next tranche, and we can cover off. I can see some queries about some of those matters, but we can certainly cover them off for you. But the other thing for call outs for Tranche 2 is our support channels, as I mentioned before, were readily available and well used by everybody and utilised by everybody, so that there were certainly no long queues of advisors and customers waiting for their details to be covered off. The Monday Panorama outage, we accept that delay occurred, and as a result of a a wrap maintenance program running longer than expected on the Saturday evening into the Sunday morning, and that sort of delays things as they went down, and ended up with us having Panorama, the UI, out for the Monday. So as Phil mentioned, we appreciate your patience with respect to that. Slight delay in getting the registration emails and communications out for investors, but that's all been overcome now, and we've worked on getting those out with respect to the details for those clients to get on board and register as well. Some clients received, I'll just run through this, a double debit for contributions or regular savings plans. And what I mean by that is there are a small group of clients, we're talking about a few hundred clients out of the overall tranche of 40-odd thousand, but a few hundred clients had regular savings plans or personal super contribution, regular contribution set up, and they were debited, their bank accounts were debited for that from the wrap system and from the Panorama system. Now, of course, it won't be debited twice, and I think all of these now have been reversed, where the wrap amount obviously goes back to clients' bank accounts. But for a short period of time, if they were in their account, they would have seen a double debit for that amount. They've all been rectified and reconciliated with funds going back, so that it's only the one debit that works for Panorama. So a small issue with that one, but jumped on that pretty quickly. Regular investment plans, I know a couple of questions here. There were a delay in setting up just a small number of regular investment plans, and any of those that have been delayed have now been manually attended to make sure they've come across and updated and flowing and working well for that small group that we had a few challenges with. Panorama data for Westpac clients, just one to flag is that when you look at some of your clients' details in Panorama, you may think that it's that's wrong, or it's different to the information that you had on wrap. And that's mainly, well, it is only for those clients that are Westpac clients. So if they have other Westpac banking products, if they've got different information on the system for their for those Westpac products in terms of their contact information, then Panorama does draw that information in. So if that needs to be updated, we can certainly get that updated by letting us know. But that was part of the data quality exercise that you all undertook with us in the lead up to this. But you may see the odd difference, and it will be those clients that have Westpac banking products essentially. Finally, there were some selected super clients that showed an active HIN incorrectly, and when in fact they didn't have any equities in their portfolio. So the question was, why is that showing? That was simply a data matching glitch for a few of those clients. We've identified that there's no impact, there's no advisor impact or client impact for that, other than seeing it incorrectly reflected, and we'll be fixing that this weekend. Okay, so they were the main call outs for tranche 2, and the main things that we've been focusing on in terms of the positives, and also those things that we needed to work on as well to address those. And as I said, with a migration of this complexity and size, there'll always be those sorts of queries and matters that arise throughout that, and we're well set up to identify those. But if you see anything else, please let us know, absolutely, as quickly as possible, and we'll get on top of it and get that resolved using our service model that we've got in place. Okay, just moving forward again. Let's have a look at what we recommend for you to be focusing on this week, in this first week post migration for those clients that you have moved across. We've moved across to Panorama successfully. So I'll refer you to the documents and downloads section of the Migration Hub. And importantly, the migration checklist within that. So within that, you will see that there's a number of tasks that we've had which have clicked. You click on the various links that are in that, and there's a number of tasks in the lead up to migration. But importantly, there's a number of tasks and checklists, checkpoints to follow through from day one onwards. So that's in the week that we're in now. Some of those key things involve just checking in on employer super contributions, making sure that choice nomination forms will need to be updated. Now we're obviously automatically transferring any contributions, etc., that come in through that automatically for a year. But it's important to make a decision whether some practices are doing that as a standalone project, and others are doing that as part of their normal review cycle with clients. So that depends on your own preferences and practice setup. Other ones are enduring rollovers. Any enduring rollovers that you had in place will need to be re-established with those external insurers. So just making sure that they have details of the new account details, etc., for those to come in to maintain those insurance policies for them. But please work through that list. If there's any forms in there, for example, that nomination form, you can click on the link which we've built into that checklist, and it'll take you straight through to the details that you need. So that's a very effective way of making sure that even if there are things that you don't need to do, that you've ticked off that there's certainly things that you're aware that you don't need to do. The other main focus would be further updating those details with the relevant third parties is just review the training resources again. So we've had a large increase in hits to our BT Academy website, and also the upcoming training webinars which are consistently being run. So have a look at those that are on the calendar and on the horizon to be run, and you're certainly welcome to register for those. But also look through the catalogue of training videos and instructional videos that we do have for Panorama, and you can work through with your practice in the training sessions as they fit for your individual business needs. But any other training sessions that you need, or any queries as you negotiate and navigate your way through the Panorama system, you can certainly contact us as well, and we can help out wherever possible. For some of you, this will be a relatively new experience in Panorama, as you are a RAP business, focused business, and coming across. And for others, you've had a bit of a hybrid approach, and you're more au fait with Panorama and its various systems and functional opportunities that you can use, such as digital consent and managed accounts, etc. And just to name a couple. So yeah, absolutely, in your time this week, be focused on that checklist, and that will give you a very comprehensive view of the things that need to be done. And as I mentioned before, this list was built in conjunction with participating practices in Tranche 1, and so it has a very practical feel to it in terms of the tasks and jobs that they approached and completed for their practice in Tranche 1 in December last year. Okay, so in terms of our other support channels and availability, we of course have these briefing sessions which we will continue to run, and we'll run another one in the lead up to our next tranche when we get the details out with respect to that very shortly. Digital Hub is always there, and it should really be your first port of call, because it's consistently where the information updates go first. So you always see that in the What's New section there. Have a look through those, because there's training videos, as I said, and documents and forms have a wealth of information in there, and of course the FAQs for any of those queries that you may have. Our team is always here. We have the largest distribution sales team, service team in the country to service you, our very important clients, and make it easier for you to look after your clients in your practice and business with all things Panorama and BT. The training we've mentioned, please have a look at the BT Academy website for upcoming sessions, and of course the historical sessions are all there, so that you can watch them at a time and date that suits you and your needs individually, and with your practice and with your training sessions in your practices. And detailed FAQs, always updated and live online, ready for you to have a look through. And of course, we also have our online chats and guides where you can get in and utilize all of those automated services, as well as the personalized service to support you and your practice through migration. For some of you, this will be it. It's BT Open was the extent of your RAP usage, and you're fully migrated, and congratulations with respect to that. And for some of you, you'll have some other accounts coming through varying levels in the following tranches, in which case you'll be able to work through some of this and pre-migration work, and then also the post-migration work when we get to that time a bit later on. Okay. We might just jump forward now to questions, and I'll start addressing the questions. We are joined today by Danielle Bailey from our RAP simplification program, and Danielle heads up a lot of the technical services within that migration program, and was certainly very busy over the weekend and so far this week in making sure everything's flowing. Probably Jason Brown, our head of account management, national head of account management, would be known to many of you and myself. So we will start to work through some of those questions, and I'll pass them out as we go. Laurel, does the client's regular investment plan go through with their account? My PSP account did not go across. Yep, Laurel, they did. So the regular investment plans were migrated across. As I said, there are a small number which didn't go across correctly, in which case they're being manually managed and updated, and so that should be updated now. If not, you can certainly give us a call and flag that to us, but it's being worked on as we speak.
Laurel, I wouldn't mind, sorry, it's Danielle.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I wouldn't mind if you could post the account number for that client and we can individually have a look at it. There were a couple that were with terminated funds and things like that on RAP. So we're needing to do a cleanup activity as well. So if you could post the M number or the client name through, we'll have a look at that one individually for you.
Excellent. Thanks, Danny. Now, while we've got you, a follow-up question from Laurel with regard to the issue with term deposits, and has that been rectified? If you could just expand on that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So the term deposits, I think this goes back to what Tim was talking about. There were just a few things that didn't look right when we were testing before migration, which is why we made the tough call to pull those out. They've continued to be worked on and they will be all cleared for the next migration.
Excellent. Thank you. Anita is just asking, when do we expect to get new Panorama accounts feed in Xplan for mapping? All of the data feeds have gone through to Xplan, and what we did was send through the RAP data feeds and also the Panorama data feeds. They do that matching and mapping in the back end as per the work that we've done with them, extensive work in the lead up to migration, and then that flows through to their users, out to yourselves. And that should be coming through last night, was certainly when they were starting to send that out. So in a normal course of business, that should be coming through to you now for your Xplan data mapping.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, Tim. We did have a further conversation with Iris yesterday just to confirm that everything's going well on their side. Their script to map the clients over from RAP to Panorama was just taking a little bit longer than they expected, but they expect that all to be cleared today, and you should have access at some time today.
Excellent, thank you. I think that also covers off a question from Daniela with regard to the Xplan data feed. Tina has a question, when will the April tranche list be available? We're just working, Tina, on that replan now, and just putting our final touches on the planning of that next tranche, and making those lists, communicating those lists to you as soon as possible. Just factoring in additional information which we garnered from the weekend, and we'll be getting that out to you in the very near future. So I'd expect we should hopefully be getting that out to you next week in terms of some more details with respect to that. So thank you. And another question here just on data feeds. Do you expect any delay in data feed to Xplan from Tran? So hopefully, Tran, that's answered your question as well. With respect to the data feed query. So just taken a little bit longer than they'd expected at Iris for those scripts to be run in the background, but certainly moving that through. Why doesn't Panorama allow asset transfers from an investment account to a super account? When will this function be available as it was available in RAP? Let's see if Jason, are you online, Jason? If you just want to talk about our continuing improvement work in that space.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. I can speak to that one. So thanks, great question. And you're right, it is a functionality that was on RAP and used not extensively, but in the right circumstances, of course. So we think of that as in-specie contributions and in-specie rollovers, two different things. For instance, you might wind up a self-managed super fund and want to move it from investment wrap to super wrap. That's an in-specie rollover. Or you might want to take assets that are in investment wrap and contribute those as, for instance, shares, etc. So we're well underway with the high-level design of that. We will build that within this next financial year, but not before migration's finished. So the priority for migration is to have that all wound up and finished before the end of June. and then we'll build these extra functionalities. So the order we expect that will go in will be in specie rollovers and then in specie contributions.
Excellent.
I've got the list here of questions, so I might just circle back and get some feedback on how that would work best for you. We always want to hear, rather than just assume we know what advisors want us to build, check in with you on functionality and how it works and the experience. So thanks.
Terrific. Thanks, Jose. Also, just a question from Tina on a particular with respect to the regular investment plan and wanting to suspend the RIP for a client, and they can't process that at the moment. So I think I'll just echo what Danielle was saying before. Tina, if you can pop the account number in the Q&A, and we'll actually track that one through and get in touch with you directly and help you to in fact suspend that regular investment plan for them. A question from Larissa on investment options in Compact being different to those in Select Wrap and Select Admin, and what will happen to those clients' existing funds where the option is not available in Compact. Larissa, the short answer is that they will be available for your clients. We've done an extensive process in matching the menu so that on migration, the funds that your clients are in, they will be able to be migrated to the new Panorama platform and version. And they'll be able to, assuming that the funds are open, they'll be able to continue to make contributions and access those funds. So taking care of that for you, and that will map across absolutely exactly the same. Just on the data feed question, is the Panorama data feed cover since inception data? Yes, it is, Danny. My understanding is that the Pano data feed will cover since inception data. Is that correct?
It won't quite, but that's why we've worked with the data feed vendors to ensure that they've sort of got that since inception data out of the wrap system before migration, and they've locked that down, and then they just build on top of that from Panorama from here on. Yep. If there's any requests that we need to refresh wrap data or go back and get wrap data for a new provider, that can be done for a period of time as well. So we're sort of managing that with the data feed vendors as a case-by-case basis with all of them. So when you're looking in your financial planning software, you will see since inception data. It's just not all of that data is coming out of Panorama. Some of it was already loaded in from wrap.
Excellent, thank you. And then Tran goes on, do we need to make sure we keep the old BT wrap data and Xplan? Well, that's being done for you at that Iris and Xplan level. And of course, for the next 12 months, you have access to BT wrap as well. Just a question then from Larissa. Does the client have the option to unlink Panorama from Westpac Banking? I might pass to you on that one, Danielle.
If a client is a Westpac client, they will have a tile available on their Westpac Live access, and they can link in through their Westpac Banking through to single sign-on through to Panorama. So yes, they will if they're a Westpac client.
Excellent, thank you. And thank you, Tina, for the details of that client where we need to suspend the RIP. We'll get onto that. Further question, when opening a new Panorama account, the existing client cannot be selected as existing. There is an error message advising to set up a new client record. However, the client would then have to register another login and then request an amalgamation, which takes 30 days. Once again, I'll call on you, Danielle, for that one.
We have found a few. I'm assuming potentially this could be an entity account, which we're reviewing entity accounts at the moment. We have seen a couple that don't look like they have potentially set up correctly or to the right underlying client record in the system. So if you could provide me the details of that client as well, we'll have a look into that one and just check whether there's additional steps we need to do to finish that access for the client.
Yeah, I think Tina, we'll actually, Jason will organise for someone to give you a call post this meeting, so we can run through. There's a few little queries there which we'd like to talk to you about and run through those and make sure we iron those creases out for you in your post-migration experience. Okay, just looking now at any other questions. Just coming through. A question about Centrelink. Will RAP send the updated pension data to Centrelink? Yes, Tran, it absolutely will. That's all being handled at an electronic level. And with the new feeds go through to Centrelink, DHS, DVA, that will all be done electronically to update them for their pension data. And of course, any grandfathered pensions that you have retain that status, so there's no issue with respect to that. Okay, and we've got the question from Tina. We've got the client details, which are excellent. Larissa, existing wrapper clients are able to link their accounts and spouse accounts to view all-in-one login. Can we have the same with Pano? Danielle.
I might have to come back and confirm exactly the related account functionality. I haven't been across that for a little while, but there is the ability to link accounts together and get a level of reporting as well as some fee aggregation if they are in BT Open. But I must admit to not being as close to that functionality, that BAU functionality, so we might have to just circle back on that.
Excellent. We'll give you a call, Larissa. And Leanne Abbott, just looking for a call with regard to migrated client being set up with 2 registrations also. So we can talk through that one with you and work that one through. Tracy, we have a few emails regarding changed permissions, and it seems to be for trust accounts, but when we call Panorama, they have nothing showing that the permissions have changed. Tony, could this be with those complex entities, part of the data situation with them?
Yeah, absolutely, it could be. And also, if we're just looking in accounts and they don't look right, we are amending things. So I guess the probably priority concern would be if the permissions that we're changing to look incorrect. But as we're sort of searching through accounts, if we're investigating and just doing additional testing, if we see something that's incorrect, we are correcting it on the spot. So if you do see something that looks wrong, that we've changed it to be incorrect, please let us know and we'll fix it up.
Excellent. Thank you. I think with those existing wrap clients linking accounts and spouse accounts to view all in one login, we might be able to have that, but they may have to be the owner of the account. So we will circle back on that as we mentioned and get an answer through to you with respect to that. Just checking now, doing a refresh for questions to see if there's any more that have come in. Sorry, just a question in chat from Leah. Leah, nice to have you on the call, on the webinar. If RIPs are not visible in scheduled payments for April, can they be considered missing? Danielle, have you got, just with regard to the RIP situation?
So they're not showing as having an April payment coming out?
That's right. Yeah.
Sorry, April payment scheduled.
That's right. Scheduled payments for April.
Yeah, it could be a number of reasons. It could be that they potentially may not be a monthly RIP. It could be quarterly. It could be that they're part of that small contingent that we're working through to set up. So yeah, we just have to look at that individual client and just understand what that's causing that issue. Excellent.
Okay, Leah, if you want to give us a call, we can have a look at those individual situations and cases for you. Will do. Okay, terrific. There's no other questions at this stage coming through. Have anyone got any that they want to place through? We certainly have had a reduced number of participants for this webinar as the days have gone on, which is a good sign. It means that the questions have been reducing and people have been comfortable with how things are progressing through. But I'm very keen to run today and to address those questions which do pop up from the weekend. And as I said, any individual questions that you may have with respect to the migration for your own practice and your own clients and database, after today, please do absolutely give us a call, jump online, call your BDM, call CR. As mentioned before, they're all waiting to assist wherever possible and identify whether it's just an understanding of the system issue, or if there is in fact a problem, then we can now fix that very swiftly for you. Okay, well, I might call it at a close there as questions seem to have stopped. But thank you very much to everybody for your attention and attendance today. And thank you also very much for all of your work that you've put in, your teams and practices in the lead up to Tranche 2 and the very successful now migration of BT Open Wrap, established some 2.5 years ago, through to Panorama first up, as was always said we would do. So we're pleased to have been able to deliver that and look forward to continuing to deliver the rest of the migration journey for yourselves and for everybody else in the Wrap platform system. So thank you very much to Phil for joining us as well, Danielle and Jason, and as always, as I said, thank you to you for your attendance. So I'll say goodbye, and if you've got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thanks very much and goodbye.